Can see me and hear me well. Welcome to our LinkedIn and YouTube live. I know that the Gradvine team, my colleagues, have been doing lives with some level of frequency over the past couple of months. I've been missing because of other workload, but I'm super happy to come back and join you guys to do this Ask Me Anything session where I'll be clearing all your doubts with respect to master's applications, undergraduate applications, general career guidance. So if you have any questions that you want genuine, unbiased advice on from people who have a lot of experience in seeing various career paths, please feel free to use the comment section in LinkedIn and the comment section on YouTube, whichever platform you're viewing this live session on, to have all your questions answered. Before your questions start streaming in, I'd also like to thank all of you who have been following me on LinkedIn. I've been recognized as a LinkedIn top voice just 2 or 3 days ago, which came as a very pleasant surprise. So thank you so much for trusting my content and engaging with it. And as always, I hope that the stuff that I'm writing about and speaking about has been useful for a lot of you guys, right? And thanks again. Without your engagement, that top voice recognition wouldn't have come through. And rest assured, I'll be doing a lot more of such lives. I'll be doing a lot more content on both LinkedIn and the YouTube channels, which are both growing very, very well. And I think that's a testament to the genuine sort of advice that we are putting out. So you guys can jump into your questions. Just paste your questions in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer a lot of them. Again, you might be wondering about what some good programs are to apply abroad. You might want to know about the application strategy, how admissions committees evaluate profiles. Maybe those of you are looking to apply for 25, you're starting to plan your timeline. Those of you who are still hopeful of 24 want to know what options you have. So any questions that you might have, there are no silly or stupid questions. Use the next 30-ish minutes to get them all answered, because I'm right here to give you all the advice that you need. And as we speak, I think the first question is here already. Hello, sir. I got admits from Northeastern, UNC Charlotte, and waiting for a decision from sunny Buffalo. Can you please share some insights on which university would be better considering job opportunities? Parthav, if you can mention which course, it would be great, right? Because for a computer science, my advice might be different. For an MEM, my advice might be different. For an MIS, my advice might be different. So all good universities that you have, please mention the course specifically, and I would love to answer your question with a little bit more detail and nuance. All right, I'm currently a second-year animation student and planning to do my MS in HCI from the US. I have a doubt regarding the process. Should I give the GRE or should I give TOEFL or the IELTS? All right, thank you so much for that question. If you're a second-year animation student, I think first of all, kudos for you on the choice of course. An MS in HCI is a fantastic option that you can look at, because in terms of job opportunities, it's fantastic. Look at the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor. Certainly look at Carnegie Mellon for this degree. These are some of the best programs. Of course, we've helped thousands of students make it to the top master's programs and scores to these top HCI programs as well. I don't think the GRE is a hard requirement as of this year, but by the time you're applying, it is likely that the GRE will be required. So I would recommend you give it. If you're in your second year, it's still a little early. You can give it a little bit of time. TOEFL versus IELTS. If you're applying to the US, then just give the TOEFL. If you want to keep some options in Europe open, then give the IELTS. Either works. That's not a big deal. In fact, TOEFL or IELTS, you should decide based on your university list. So you can give that at the time of application. Don't worry about that right now. But most certainly, consider giving the GRE. It will help you in multiple different ways. All right, Parthav has the follow-up question. It's for an MS in CS, Northeastern versus UNC Charlotte and sunny Buffalo. All right, I'll have to say the Northeastern Khoury College is a fantastic program. Northeastern will be a little bit more on the expensive side, certainly more expensive than sunny Buffalo, but well worth the admit. Northeastern Khoury College's MS in CS is an outstanding program. I would go for it without any worries. How is the MS in CS at Emory University? It's a good program. It's a good university as well, but Emory is a little bit known for its business school. I don't know if it would be an elite tech school, I think there are better options which can get things done in a more cost-effective manner as well. Nothing wrong with it, but there are better options you can evaluate, Jaswant. But again, that's my personal opinion. All right. Timeline for fall 2025 for a student who's in the sixth semester of BTech. So if you are in your sixth semester of BTech, you will be applying for fall 25. That is true. You should, I'll give it to you very quickly, but of course you can schedule a free consultation on gradvine.com, for which we will give you a tailored timeline, right? On that free call, we'll tell you exactly what to do in which month. But in today's session, because you asked me that question, I'll run through it very briefly. You should be starting your GRE prep now. I would recommend you give your first attempt of the GRE around April or May. How many other attempts you want to give of the GRE, it does not matter, but try and give your final attempt of the GRE. You should have a final GRE score in hand by August of 2024, right? Which is about, give or take 7-8 months from now. You should start with your application materials ideally by sometime in July end or the first week of August latest, and your first deadlines will be around the 15th of November. So you have all of August, all of September, all of October to work on just your application materials and maybe a TOEFL or an IELTS, whichever you have to give. That is the ideal timeline you have to do the applications in a relaxed manner and have some strong applications submitted. But if you have any other specific nuances and you want a more detailed timeline, please schedule your free consultation on gradvine.com, gradvine.com, or you can also schedule your free consultation using the link that my colleague Nilesh is putting, with the Gradvine icon in both YouTube and LinkedIn, right? Once again, guys, there are loads of questions coming in. I am pretty certain at this rate that I will not be able to answer all of them in the next 30 minutes. If I'm not, it's not due to a lack of effort, it's because of a paucity of time. So if you still have specific questions, you can always schedule a free consultation and get great advice on the call for free, right? After that, if you want to sign up for our paid services, completely up to you. All right. Can you tell me a little bit about the application process and strategy for the Dartmouth MEM? Yes, I can, right? So for the fall of 2023, out of about 15, 16 Indians who got into Dartmouth, 11 were Gradvine students. So I have a fair idea about what kind of profiles they see. Dartmouth is very holistic in terms of the way they view profiles. Just this year, I've had candidates with about 4 or 5 backlogs get interview calls as well. I've had people with a 7 GPA get interview calls as well, right? If the rest of your profile and your work experience is solid, right? So if you look at an X factor in the profile, either very strong work experience, a very high GPA, or a very high GRE score, something that stands out, or some sort of diversity in terms of the experience that you've had. So they are very holistic. They look at a variety of different factors. They're not very GPA centric, but it's very difficult to predict who gets into Dartmouth and who doesn't because of the very small class, right? In terms of the application process, apply early. Dartmouth has a December 1st unofficial deadline, right? Jan 15th is the official, December 1st is the unofficial. Apply then. The chance of getting an interview we've seen this year are significantly higher. You need to have a very good statement of purpose which conveys the entire body of work that you've done. And you will hear a lot of our Gradvine students attest to the fact that we do that very, very well. You need to have a solid statement of purpose. You need to show that there has been evidence of you using engineering to solve problems, right? Be it through a hackathon, through an internship, through a project, a solid body of work there. And of course, your grades, at the end of the day, your grades matter. Your GRE scores matter, the hard numbers matter. So try and build that. If you want to understand your chances of getting in, you can always schedule a free consultation with us and get started with us early. The good part is if you're targeting fall 25, you start early. The best mentors are available. I will be available to speak about your shortlist and your application strategy personally. Once you go into the months of July, August, it's impossible because we get over 100 students signing up with us per month at that point. And, our availability becomes a little stretched out. So Dartmouth, that is the situation with it. If you want more details, please schedule your call. How is the Texas A&M MIS program? Right. So Texas A&M's MIS program is an outstanding program, very, very cost effective. It's a top 7-8 MIS program, if you ask me, in my book. The only problem with it is that maybe the curriculum is not as product management friendly as you'd like. I see 70 to 80% of MIS aspirants coming through at this point in time want to get into MIS for a product management role. Texas A&M is a slightly more technical curriculum. The other thing is Texas A&M MIS requires a WES evaluation, which is a third-party transcript evaluation to convert your GPA from a 10-point scale or a percentage scale to a 4-point scale. It is the only one of the few MIS programs along with Carnegie Mellon that asks that. So that's another $200 expense that you have to put in if you want to apply there. Apart from that, in the curriculum, outstanding ROI, brilliant program. All right, how is the GPA evaluated by the admissions committee? Is the overall GPA considered or subject-wise GPA considered based on the program we apply to? Look, if you're applying for a computer science to computer science, for instance, your overall GPA will be considered. Even if you're applying to, an engineering complementary degree, like whatever engineering to an engineering management, your overall, GPA will be considered. If you're applying to something like a quantitative finance, then obviously your scores in statistics, probability, calculus, or your M1, M2, M3, M4 will be considered a little bit more seriously. But by and large, your overall GPA being good matters. If you have a slightly lower grade on one or two subjects here and there, I wouldn't worry about it too much. All right, I got an MIS admit from Sunny Buffalo in the University of Texas at Dallas, which would be better with respect to overall cost and ROI. In terms of cost, I think Sunny Buffalo is hard to beat. Honestly, UT Dallas is certainly the slightly better university, but if you're only looking at a cost to return ratio, then I think Sunny Buffalo makes a lot of sense because it's a very reasonably priced university. UIUC MSTM versus TAMU MIS. Look, I have to give a very definitive answer there. I think in all respects, Texas A&M MIS is a better pick if you're okay with the curriculum being more technical, right? Purely on a return on investment basis, even slightly a little bit of a reputation basis, I'd have to pick the Texas A&M MIS over the technology management at UIUC. Is MS in Education Data Science at Stanford University a good program? It is. I've had very, very limited candidates who've gone there. But the one or two who've gone there, who are of course brilliant in their own right, have only good things to say about the program. Right, a very, very good program. You can look at it. In terms of ROI, which course is better, DS or MEMC? This is an apples to oranges comparison. I don't think anybody can give you a definitive answer without understanding your requirements, right? A DS, in terms of what you'll be studying, the kind of job roles you'll be doing, is so very different from an MEM. But I'll have to say, if you're only looking at it objectively from a dollar to dollar perspective, right, which honestly you shouldn't, it's far more nuanced than that, then I would say DS is a better investment purely because you will find cheaper DS programs. MEMs in general are expensive because you have business school electives. The moment you start taking electives from the business school, the tuition fee goes up because business school electives and the per credit charges become very, very high, right? So therefore, MEM being expensive makes DS in terms of a dollar to dollar return on investment a better bet. But which one you want to get into really depends a lot, in terms of your admits, in terms of your requirements. How is MS and CS at the University of Alabama, Birmingham? I got an admit. My friend, not very good. You can do. I wouldn't look. You might get a job because it's still CS, but not a great university at all. All right. CS, DS, MEM. Apart from these three, what other options do you have considering a CS team? I'm a BTech CS grad. I mean, honestly, look, it comes down to a question of whether you want to stay within your core and you want to code for a living, or you want to break into more of the product side and get into management, right? So these are the two things. You have to ask yourself, and I don't think this is the right thought process. What are all the options I have in my life, right? After engineering, you got to get a little bit more focused. What do you really want to do? Do you like coding? Do you not like coding? You have to have answers to that. After you've done, computer science, right? What do you see yourself doing in your life? And depending on where you want to get into, then you can talk about what options are there, right? So if you want to get into core, yes, CS, DS, data analytics, all of these make sense. If you want to shift into the product side, then an MEM makes sense. If you want to have a little bit of touch in both, then an MIS might make sense, right? So these are broadly your options. You can do an MBA if you please, if you're willing to wait for 4 or 5 years, right? You can do a quantitative finance degree if you get 2 years of finance and you want to get into that side of it, and investment banking, right? So there are a world of options. It's a question of what do you want to get into, and then we'll give you options in terms of that, right? Think about it in that way. I don't see the value in just understanding what 25 options you'll be eligible for after a computer science undergrad. All right, I got admits from University of Illinois Springfield, Purdue, Fort Wayne, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, University of North Texas, TTU. I'm guessing it's Texas Tech, but I'm not even sure. And Rowan, which is the best option to go with. These all look like universities that have tie-ups, my friend. I don't know why you are sitting on, and I'm sorry, I'm very blunt when I say this because I have to give you direct advice. I don't know why you're sitting on six admits from all places which are probably tie-ups and not great. Between them, I honestly don't know which one you have to pick. If I have to purely look at reputation, maybe University of Maryland and Baltimore County, but you shouldn't have applied to so many universities at that level because really at this point, no advantage. You could have used one or two spots and application fees to have applied to something better. Among them, if I have to pick UMBC, but honestly, even that is not great. But again, I cannot comment with a great level of certainty whether you could have gotten into better places without knowing your profiles. All right, when should I start my loan and visa process? Is March or May first week a good time? You can start your loan and visa process as soon as you get your I-20 in hand. Admits are coming through now. They will come through all the way until March and April first week. If you start your loan process by maybe the first or second week of April, you'll have plenty of time to get a sanction letter. And immediately after that, by end April or the first week of May, you can start filling in your visa forms and then get an appointment wherever you want. Right. Last year and the year before, getting slots was a huge issue. This year, I think because things have, COVID is essentially not going to be an issue anymore, so you should get enough slots, right? And if you do it early, if you start looking out for slots from May, the first week of May itself, maybe you'll get a slot in your own city, which is ideal, right? You don't want to be traveling and stuff. So I think, yeah, if you get your loan process started by end of March or the first week of April, and then jump into your visa process by the first week of May, you'll have plenty of time to do it without a problem. All right. As a fresher, what job roles can I expect after pursuing an MEM? Plenty of job roles. A lot of MEM grads get into business analyst roles as their first role before they transition into product management. You can get into APM roles, right? Either an associate product manager or an associate project manager after an MEM as a fresher. You can get into analyst roles within the operations and supply chain domain as well. So yeah, plenty of opportunities that you can get into. But the most popular I've been seeing in recent years is an APM role, an associate product manager, which is the most common job role, I would say. All right, is it too late to start applications for fall 24? There's nothing like too late. Look, it's not ideal, right? And don't take all the fall 25 guys, please don't take this as an example, right? You shouldn't take bad examples, but it's never too late, right? I've seen people who started their application process on the 12th of Jan, which is today, in previous years, submit their application by the 14th of Jan, provided their GRE scores or whatever requirements are on point, and get into Duke and Cornell also in the past. So it's not too late, but it is late, right? It's honestly, I cannot tell you definitively whether it makes sense for you or not without knowing your profile, without knowing your aspirations, and without knowing what program you want to apply to, right? So that's why schedule a free consultation with us and talk to your case in specific. And on that call, you'll be given genuine advice. We tell a lot of people on our calls that, boss, don't even apply. It doesn't make sense for you, right? Our intention is not to sell you something. Of course, if we believe we can add value, we'll tell you honestly, like, these are our services and you can go ahead with it. And we'll tell you very clearly whether you want to apply for fall 24 or 25. Another viewpoint that you can look at, which I'm surprised that a lot more students are not getting smarter about and not considering, is that say you apply to fall 24 to 2 or 3 places and you get in, maybe you want to apply to better places in future, you can defer your admit from fall 24 to 25, saying that I will join 1 year later, and you can apply to the really best places only for 25, right? So I would at least explore the option of applying for fall 24. Don't rule it out and give up. Understand what options and universities you have open, which we will tell you, and then take a call whether you want to apply for 24 or 25, and we'll help you for both intakes, right? So I think you can absolutely do that. Get onto our website, figure out whether making 2-3 applications for slightly later deadlines makes sense for 24. Otherwise, we'll help you for 25 as well at the same fee, right? All right, 8.45 GPA, 315 GRE, chances at Dartmouth and Columbia. See, all very difficult to predict. All I can say is that I've seen similar profiles get into both programs, but it really depends on the quality of the competing applicant pool, which is very, very strong this year. I think this year, because at Gradvine, because of the number of good profiles we see, right? Other consultancies might be doing bigger numbers with tie-up universities and stuff. But in terms of actual consulting, good profiles, really hopeful students looking at good schools, that we see, this year's applicant pool is the strongest I've seen in the longest time. So in past years, yes, I've seen people get in. but I cannot predict with any percentage or a certain level of certainty in terms of whether you can definitely get in. All right, 10 to 25 best universities for MEM video, please. Beyond the top 10, we will do that video. We will try and do that video for sure. All right. Does Purdue MEM require work experience to get in? No, we've seen plenty of freshers get in the past. It doesn't require work experience. All right. Currently working in program management, interested to pursue MEM at Purdue. If I want to shift to product management, which is better, MEM or MIS? Or see certain MEM programs, certain MIS programs. For instance, if you want to do an MEM at Purdue, it's not good for product management. MEM is purely strong. MEM at Purdue is purely strong for supply chain management, operations management, and the manufacturing sector, or any sort of logistics sectors. If you want to go into tech product management and tech companies, Purdue's curriculum is not the friendliest for that. You can look at certain MEM programs like Duke instead, Johns Hopkins instead, which will take you there, or certain MIS programs like the University of Washington, which is probably the best product management MIS program out there. And you can also look at something like a University of Maryland or a UIUC, which will take you into product management firmly, right? Not Purdue certainly, and you cannot be certain that every MEM and every MIS takes you there. It is nuanced, and that is how we do your shortlist as well, by understanding your career perspectives. All right. CMU, ET, and IM versus UIUC MCS, the non-thesis track. Apples to oranges comparison, ETIM is an engineering management program, purely non-technical program. UIUC MCS, as you know, is a CS program. If I have to look at pure return on investment, what I've heard from students, in terms of how the program has aided them in terms of career growth, in terms of return on investment, even in terms of reputation, I'll have to say the UIUC MCS program trumps it, if you're okay with a more technical program, of course. All right, is Dartmouth only interviewing people with WorkX? Good question. Let me think back to all the people who've gotten interviews so far. I'd have to say, I think everybody who's gotten interviews so far do seem to have people with WorkX, but don't worry. Even if you don't have WorkX, you'll have a shot of getting in and being called for an interview. Maybe that's just coincidental because it's still very early in terms of the interview call phase, right? You can expect interview calls through the month of February largely. So yeah, so far, yes, but I don't think that will be the case by the time we are done with the season. All right, UIUC MSTM versus NEU MEM for product project management roles and job opportunity aspects. It is a little bit of a tough comparison. If you ask me in terms of the reputation of the university and the quality of the program, overall UIUC is slightly better. But NEU also has been a little bit more prudent with that class. Their class size, I believe, is not as large as it was in previous years, so the quality is a little better. And NEU MEM grads have been doing, fantastically well because of the co-op program and the Boston location. So it's a tough choice. If you want to look at pure ROI, the opportunity of a co-op, maybe I would pick NEU. If brand name makes a little bit more difference in your life, which it will in the long term, then UIUC, right? If I were in your place, I would pick UIUC perhaps. How is project management from USC? See, I don't remember exactly, but if the project management masters from USC is offered by the School of Professional Studies, then don't do anything from the School of Professional Studies, because those are largely weekend classes and meant for people who are working part time. So the career services, the hiring aspect of it may not be as strong. If you want to get into project management, just do a general engineering management degree, far stronger hiring prospects post the program. All right, around what time can we expect decisions from Dartmouth, USC, Duke, and Purdue? You can start expecting decisions to start rolling in by the end of February or the middle of March. That's traditionally the time when you hear back from them. Universities with co-op programs for the MEM. Northeastern has it. Purdue has a fantastic co-op program. Is ASU IT a good program? It's a very good program, yes. Considering CSDS 7 to 7.5 GPA, BTech, CBSE, CSE, what world ranking can I target in CSDSDA? World rankings, again, my friend, don't make any sense. You might go to a top ranked university in Switzerland and not get a job because the visa norms are not friendly. You might get into a top ranked university in Japan, but you don't know the language, so you're not going to get a job. If you're looking at CS and DS, by and large, look at the US. Maybe if you want to look at Europe, look at the Netherlands. If you're looking at CS and DS with a 7 to 7.5, maybe a top 50 university in CS would be possible if you get a high GRE score. DS overall, there are only some 20 programs which are good in the US, and you can hope to get into one of them. Data analytics, maybe even a top 15. But with data analytics, it is good to have a little bit of work experience typically. UWash MIS versus TAMU MIS versus UMCP MIS. Can you give your priority among this? To be honest, I think you got the priority order absolutely right in your question itself. I would say UWash better than Texas A&M, better than UMCP MIS. If cost is a huge consideration for you and you're okay with the curriculum, then maybe Texas A&M will trump UWash. But if cost is not the biggest issue, and if you want to get into product management specifically, then UWash makes sense. But really depends on your requirements. UWash versus TAMU, you can't go wrong with either. UMCP is good as well, but I think the first two trump it in all respects. All right. Would you recommend reapplying to Purdue and NU MEM program for fall 24? If you got rejected from fall 23, there's no harm in applying for fall 24. So by all means, go ahead and apply. If you gotten rejected for fall 24 itself, then you shouldn't apply again, right? You're not allowed to. All right, 9.6 GPA, B in computer engineering, 3 years of work experience as a data engineer, 318 GRE. What are the chance of getting an admit for MS and DS from top USA universities? Very, very good, right? You have the work experience in a relevant domain. You have a decent GRE score. I'm guessing if you worked as a data engineer, your quant score might be pretty good. Your GPA is high. I think you can definitely target a top 10 DS program in the US without doubt. We've helped several similar profiles get into places like an NYU and Columbia as well, which are the finest DS programs in the world. So schedule your free consultation, get started with us. I think you can really push for some good schools. Congratulations on a terrific profile. How is UIUC's technology management program? It's a pretty decent program. I would say it falls one level below the top tier programs, like say a Dartmouth or a Columbia or a Duke or a Johns Hopkins or a Purdue. It is slightly better than maybe something like a Northeastern University and NYU. However, the caveats being the curriculum is a little too generic. I think it's too management heavy. There needs to be a little bit more technical electives. The length is also an issue. I know that last year they started a data science track to add that technical foundation to the program, which makes students more hireable. But I think that has been removed, so I don't know what the situation is this year. I think it's a decent program, somewhere in the middle, not the very best, not a bad program either. All right. Can you mention some good MEM programs outside the top 10? So, look, the top 10 videos become quite popular, which is also putting me in a spot, right? Because I don't think it's that black and white. It's not like there's some university that's ranked 11, which is definitely worse than some university ranked 10. But I'll talk to you about universities which are not spoken about enough, which are terrific MEM programs themselves. UC Boulder, the Lockheed Martin Engineering Management Program is terrific, especially if you are looking to get into manufacturing and operations. Same with the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, very good for manufacturing, a very, very good program there. The California State University East Bay, the Bay Area hiring ecosystem, you get access to it. It's usually a safe school for most profiles, and it's an outstanding program in its own right. You can also look at the Washington University St. Louis, a program that doesn't get talked about enough. Pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's as good as the ones I've spoken about, but it's very good in terms of return on investment as well, right? So these are some outside my top 10 video that I did. I'm guessing you're referring to that, which are very, very good as well. All right, spring 25 for MEM. What factors should I focus on? Look, you're not going to have as many options for spring, to be honest, because Duke won't offer a spring intake. It didn't last year. Cornell stopped offering a spring intake. Johns Hopkins won't have a spring intake. Dartmouth won't have a spring intake. So some of the top programs out there, the real heavyweights in the MEM field, are not available for spring. If I were you, I would either do fall 24 or fall 25. Spring, you won't have as many options as you'd like typically, right? Do you take physical appointments in Hyderabad? If yes, how should I schedule one? If you want anything, you want a physical meeting, you want a free consultation, you want advice from us whenever you feel like, the best way you can request for any of that is by scheduling a free consultation. You can see the scroller at the bottom. Schedule a free consultation, schedule a physical drop in. Call us on that number 9000081081 if you don't want to schedule a free consultation. The best way to reach us for any of your questions, any of your requirements, even if you want to enroll with us, don't want to enroll with us, doesn't matter. The best way you can consult with Gradvine and get the most genuine advice on the market is by scheduling that free consultation call. So please don't hesitate to do that. In fact, just in the blink of an eye, the live that I've budgeted for in terms of time, the time is gone. 30 minutes of answering questions gone like that, right? But you can get all your questions answered at your convenience by scheduling that free consultation call. So please don't hesitate to do that. We don't do aggressive follow-ups. We don't send you random messages. We are not into that. We give you genuine advice, and if you feel like signing up, you get back to us, right? That's the way we work. That's how we build trust. So that's how you can get a physical appointment scheduled with us as well. So think about it. All right, I'm going to take a couple more questions before I wrap up, guys, and I'm going to cherry pick stuff that I maybe not covered. I think a lot of MEM questions. All right, let's do somebody whom we've not covered. All right, 3.2 GPA, 2.5 years of work experience. What, according to you, is a good match for me for the MEM program? All right, so first of all, Srija, if you've done the conversion on your own, I don't know how you've done it. If you can tell me your GPA on a 10-point scale, it's far easier for us to make that judgment, right? Because the 3.2 GPA is on the lower side. But if your 10 scale GPA is somewhere like a 7.5 and you have 2.5 years of work experience, you can push for Duke also, because we've seen multiple similar profiles get in. In fact, similar profiles have gotten in Dartmouth interview calls this year. So, tell me the 10-point scale GPA, or if your university itself is offering a 4-point scale, then we'll have to talk about it, right? As to why the 3.2 came in and what the relative grading is in terms of the topper of your batch, right? Does Gradvine also consult for MBA? Yes, we consult plenty of MBAs. You can see in our reviews and testimonials about our MBA admits as well. All right, this is an interesting question. I've seen a couple of these along these lines. NEU MS CSE for fall 24, is it worth it? Has NEU given mass admits for fall 2024? Look, NEU is a big university. It gives a lot of people, admits, but there have been fairly decent profiles. There's not really nonsense profiles that have gotten in. NEU MS and CSE from the Corey College is always worth it. CS, it's in a great location. It offers co-ops. I'm sure the curriculum will be agreeable for a lot of you. Everybody who goes there gets great jobs. So I'd be, very, very happy about going to NU if you don't get into any other place. But I don't think it's mass admits. I don't think mass admits is the right way to do it. NU is a large university. It takes a lot of people in, but it's a great university in its own right? So I wouldn't be too worried about it. All right, I think I will do the last question for the day, and please schedule your free consultation call. If I was not able to answer your questions, then you can always schedule it there, and you can get your questions answered. For those of you looking at fall 2025, if you want to enroll early, please do so, because at the same price, and every April we increase the price, by the way. It increases by a factor of 3,000 to 4,000 rupees on average the last few years. So you can enjoy next year's service at this year's price. You can get access to the best mentors, and you can also schedule conversations with me to get any advice, because we'll be a little bit more free during the months of March, April, May, February, as opposed to July and August, where the season really kicks off, right? So do schedule that free consultation, enroll with us, get the process started. Worst case, just get your doubts cleared on the free consultation and leave. After that, you can take a decision to enroll whenever you're comfortable, but start early. Please start early. That is going to be a huge advantage for you. And before I'll just wrap up the final question. CGPA 9.29, 2 research internships at CMU, Triple IT Hyderabad, LOR from a CNU prof, low GRE score. What are my chances of getting to CMU, CS, or CS in UIUC, UMISH, UT Austin, and Berkeley? I think you can push for them, even if the GRE is a little lower. If you have a test optional choice, just go for it. GPA is always, in any case, a more important factor overall. Your research internships at CMU and Triple IT Hyderabad are strong. CMU is what we call the holy trinity of CS programs, right? MIT, Stanford, CMU. So CMU, very difficult to predict, but maybe a UIUC, University of Michigan, you can certainly push for. You can also push for a UT Austin or a UC Berkeley, right? So definitely look at it. I'll do one last question as a bonus, because it's an easy one to answer with the time constraint. Because I have to hop onto another meeting. Is NCSU recommended for an MS in industrial engineering? Absolutely yes. In my book, it's a top 10 industrial engineering program, and an outstanding program in its own right. So thank you so much, guys, for joining my YouTube and LinkedIn live. Once again, due to paucity of time, obviously there's a lot of questions pending. I'm never able to answer them. And a big thank you for your support on LinkedIn as well, with LinkedIn recognizing me as a top voice for this year, really, because you guys have been engaging with my content. So keep following me on LinkedIn. If you guys are on YouTube and watching this video, I know Gradvine has a sizable YouTube following right now. I'm Sreekar Reddy. You can just search for me on LinkedIn and follow me, because that's where I keep putting a lot of content, both written, video, whatever, to get all your advice. And of course, keep following our YouTube if you are. That's where the majority of the questions seem to be coming from. In addition, if you want to get access to great advice at any point in time, schedule your free consultations with us. So thank you so much for joining in and making this LinkedIn Live a great success. I'm a little breathless by this point, but supremely happy to be answering all your questions. Rest assured, I'll be trying my best to log in every couple of weeks to do this and interact with you guys, and answer all your questions. And trust me, whether you pay us, whether you don't pay us, Gradvine will be your best friend throughout the process, right? And your biggest asset. So thank you so much for joining in, and all the very best. Have a lovely weekend, guys. I will end this session right away.